What is Harrisonomics?
Harrisonomics, we don't know yet. We can see what's trickled in so far, some proposals about avoiding price gouging or preventing price gouging in goods in particular. She's done some political cross-dressing and borrowed Trump's proposal on no taxes on tips and everything else. But I think we should, first of all, kind of understand that there's a disconnect between that poll that put Harris in the lead on perceived economic stewardship. That was a shock to the senses for many, but I don't think that the perception of economic competence or desirability from Wall Street that favors Trump has changed. There is a lot of scrambling going on, and my client base is institutional investors, boards, and the C-suite. In the United States, they still prefer a Trump presidency, and they still think it's going to happen.
You're pretty deeply sourced on Wall Street, though. What's Wall Street saying about the prospects of a Harris presidency when it comes to the economy and markets? You mentioned that the bias here is still towards Trump, but is that shifting in real terms?
I see a lot of denial going on in terms of the polls, and remember, again, they're within the margin of error. September was when the rubber hits the road on the data, and that's when everyone starts to pay attention. So Harris' victory is definitely not priced in. A lot of Wall Street participants have been really invested in a Trump return to the White House. I would also, though, differentiate between big tech, for example, big banks, and corporates. U.S. corporates are kind of piling in on a Harris presidency because they rely upon the U.S. free trade and democracy kind of phenomenon that's powered global corporations for the last 30 years. Tech and fintech, less so.
Interesting, because of course, the response that we've seen from some sections of big tech is, pro-Trump because ultimately we could see cuts to interest rates and cuts to red tape, which is something that he has really pushed forward.
And not regulating our sector.
That's exactly right. That's
Yes.
exactly right. So look, as we see this policy rollout coming, a really important moment coming up for candidate Harris as she prepares to unpack exactly what Harrisonomics is going to look like. How does she balance the need to address inflation concerns, which we know is an issue for the voter, on top of driving economic growth? Should we expect any type of major policy announcement that we haven't heard, or is this just going to be more of Bidenomics and status quo?
She is the status quo candidate, but of course she'll want to put her own spin on policies. I would not expect a lot of specificity in the proposals for the very simple reason it's a political kind of law of nature that the more detail a candidate gives, the more voters they will lose.